The opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Invisible Wounds or Whiteman. Please be aware that the content of Fireside Chats with Deborah may contain sensitive subjects such as suicide, grief, violence, PTSD, and other mental health conditions. By discussing these subjects, we will decrease stigma, bring awareness, and hope. If you need support, please reach out to trusted contacts, family, friends, call your doctor, or go to the closest emergency department. Call helplines such as Boots on the Ground at 1-833-677-BOOT. We hope this series helps build self-confidence in you. Well, hello, I'm Adam Olivero, and welcome to a very special episode of Fireside Chats with Deborah. I am not Deborah, obviously, and we are not in her fireside. We're here at Leslie Motors Wingham. We're celebrating them sponsoring 10 years of Invisible Wounds. We're also celebrating National First Responders Day and all the work that those first responders do to keep our communities safe. We'll be talking to a few of those first responders, some police officers, paramedics, and fire department as well, too. And we're going to kick things off with Laura, who's giving us a piping in here at Leslie Motors Wingham. And thank you again to Leslie Motors for sponsoring Invisible Wounds for the past decade, 10 years. I'll turn things over to Laura the Piper. I'm here now with Zach Leslie and one of the family of the Leslie family. And again, we just wanted to say thank you so much for the past 10 years of sponsoring the Invisible Wounds conferences and Deborah's organization.
Absolutely. We're happy to support, and we definitely understand it's a good cause that we need to get behind.
Absolutely. Mental health is so important everywhere. First responders, they're there every day. Their lives are on the line for us, right? So it's important to help them out.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have quite a few first responders that work for us, volunteer firefighters. So we definitely try to support them as best we can with their calls and their duties away from us.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for allowing them to be volunteer firefighters, because they need to drop the hat at a moment's notice and abandon you. So I appreciate you allowing those employees to have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's being involved in the community is our one of our number one goals, and we try to support as best we can.
For sure. Well, thank you for your time, Zach.
No problem. Thank you.
Hi, it's Adam. I'm here with Jeff, the District Chief of the North Huron Fire Department. How are you doing, Jeff?
Good.
How long have you been with the fire department and in fire services?
I've been with the fire department North Huron for 21 years, and prior to that, I was involved in on the political side for fire area boards and so forth for 8 years prior to that.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service for all that time. We really appreciate it. It's important. Is the North Huron Department mostly a volunteer department then?
Yeah, the North Huron Department is a volunteer department. We do have a full-time administrative chief, but everybody else's class is volunteer, correct?
Well, again, I want to extend my services. Thank you to all those volunteers, too. That's a huge commitment. I'm from Hanover. We have a fire department that's volunteer mostly as well. And for those guys to leave their jobs during the day, and men and women, it's really appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
So what got you into doing work for fire services? Like, what got you to say, I want to be a firefighter?
As I said, I started out on the politics side of it as a municipal councillor, and then got on the fire area board, became chairman of the board and so forth. Just had a lot of interest there. A close friend of mine who was on the department at the time they needed more volunteers, so I took it upon that self. It is in my family, my extended family. There's been membership there for a lot of years. So yeah, it was just something interested. More so was just I live in Blythe. We own a family business in Blythe, so I have somewhat flexibility that way, and just to do more for the community, my family, my friends, and so forth, and help out whenever I could.
That's something we hear a lot from first responders, that their family members are also first responders. Like I said, it's in the blood. Is that something with a lot of your other fire department people? Is it family? We have a lot of families that are also firefighters over your way?
Yeah, there's some. There's some that, have years past a service and they continue on, and there's others that just come out and just want to be part of the team and part of the group. So, yeah.
It's a big commitment to be a volunteer firefighter. There's lots of training as well, too. So mental health is a big thing, too, that we've talked about a lot, too. How important is it for you guys at North Huron to have that mental health component when you come back from a fire call or a situation?
Yeah, mental health, I think, has changed drastically or at least in the approach that we handle it. In the fire station, post calls, you can get a lot of black humor and stuff like that. It's just, it's the way we deal with things. It's what happened or said in the hall stays in the hall type thing. But no, mental health is something that we look to outside third-party providers for support. It used to just be those really, really traumatic calls, but it's definitely impacting them more and more all the time on more traditional calls as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, Jeff. Thank you for coming out today. Congratulations on the years of service. Congratulations to the North Huron Fire Department. Again, extending my thanks to all of you guys who volunteer and keep our community safe. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm here with Laura, now a retired paramedic of 40 years. First of all, Laura, welcome, and thank you for your service over that time. 4 decades. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was. It went incredibly fast. It got harder at the end, but it was an incredible career. It really was.
Thank you. And we were talking before we got started with the event today. You had an incredible career. You went to all kinds of calls. Do you mind you don't have to go into detail, but you had some, I'm assuming there'd be some very traumatic, but also some very light calls. Talking about mental health, too, is a big thing now, and in respecting that mental health and respecting the process of working through things. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
My career was everything from soup to nuts.
Yeah.
So I could have a crib death, an infant death, and I could have a laughing 99-year-old who's on no medication. I did medical calls in between. I did lots of trauma calls, involved fire, air ambulance, police. We all worked together. They helped keep us safe. When I started out in this job, there was no resources for PTSD or anything like. They didn't even know about that. And then when the counties took over the municipalities, now there are resources available for some of these traumatic incidences that we go through. And I'm just blessed to have been able to pull it off for 40 years. I'm glad it's over. I don't want to go back. I don't miss it. And I thought I was a good paramedic and a good person.
So yeah, as we were mentioning, mental health is a huge factor now, and it's becoming better, but people still need to be open and talk about it, right?
Absolutely. So the stigma is being removed, and now that PTSD has been recognized as a disability, people are coming forth, and it needs to be addressed. I mean, look at all of the police, fire, and EMS who have committed suicide over the last how many years and decades. It's horrendous. So talk about it. Yeah, talk about it.
And not only talk about it with your fellow paramedics, if you as a paramedic, but the family members too, right? There's a certain way they should approach it as well.
Absolutely. You need to involve your close circle that is connected to you to help you just navigate, help you navigate it. And you need a shoulder to lean on. Sometimes when you do have a horrible call. You need a shoulder to lean on. You never give names out, but you can talk about the situation, and it just helps you process it. But yeah, talk. Absolutely.
40 years, you had to be an amazing paramedic, and thank you again for your service. And it's a big thing that we're trying to talk about with our show here with Fireside Chats, is to talk about that mental health, be more open about it, and everybody goes through their struggles, but the first responder community, it's a very unique situation. You go through a lot of traumatic events, so to be here on the other end, I thank you for that, and the retirement and your service, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm here with Dave, a supervisor and a paramedic for Huron County. And Dave, how are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you.
And first of all, congratulations on being the supervisor, and thank you for your service over the years. How long have you been doing the job for in the paramedic field?
27 years.
Well, thank you. That's an amazing time, and First Responders Day is important to recognize, so thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And so over those 27 years, I'm sure you've encountered all kinds of calls and situations. Mental health is such a huge, important factor, always has been, but more talked about now. How do you guys deal with the mental health? Just if you can elaborate a little bit.
Sure. We have probably since 2017 instituted a peer support team. So it's a medical-led. I happen to be the management person on that committee. When I was frontline, I was on the original committee that set up the team. So we have a group of paramedics that have taken extra training. We have an app that is open to all the paramedic staff that if they're having an issue, they can request for help, or if they go to a bad call, the superintendents or whoever's filling in for us can actually request a peer support member to reach out to them. And we put on some details of what's going on, and it goes out to the team, and then one of them will reach out to that paramedic and help them through the crisis.
That's the most important thing, right? The call, you have to take care of the situation, of course, make sure everybody's safe, get them to where they need to be, but the decompression after is so important now.
Yes, 100%. Yep.
And so I'm glad to hear that you've got that in place. Is there anything you're looking to in the future to expand that or make it different? Or well, probably it's a work in progress, though, right?
It is a work in progress. Huron County's working on hiring a outside professional to come in and work with the team, set up training, to be there for the debriefs, stuff like that. It's a work in progress, and hopefully by the end of the year, that's in place.
That's great to hear, Dave. Well, thank you again for your 27 years of service. I'm so happy this is in here for the Huron County paramedics. It's so important to have that time and take care of your staff, right?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm here now with Craig, a provincial constable at the Huron County OPP. And Craig, first of all, thank you for being here on First Responders Day. Thank you for your service. How many years have you been a police officer?
Thanks, I appreciate that. I'm in my 27th year, so this December will be 27 years complete, and hopefully I can get to that 30-year mark and retire, and looking forward to that.
I bet you are, and thank you for your 27 years. Where's your career taking you over those 27 years?
Well, most of my time has been spent in Huron County, actually. I started here at the Wingham Detachment, and I've worked out of the Goderich and Exeter detachments, and now we've built a new detachment in Clinton, which is centralized to Huron County. So I've been in all of the areas of this county, and then I've worked periodically outside this county on special projects up in Northern Ontario and elsewhere. So, but yeah, the bulk of my time has been spent in Huron County, and I feel very fortunate to have been able to do that.
That's amazing, and yeah, that would be amazing to be in one area. You get to know the communities, right?
Absolutely. I was born and raised here. My family's still here, so there's some familiarity, pros and cons, but it is a very nice place to live and work. We're situated on Lake Huron. We've got that beach, good, honest people here. We really don't have any major problems. It's just a really good place to live and work, and I really appreciate working for the OPP.
Yeah, that's great, Craig. So mental health is something that's so important nowadays. Can you speak a little bit about yourself and the OPP's change in mental health? How is it tackled today? I don't know if tackle's the right word, but appreciated and respected.
Well, there's maybe a two-part answer to that. So when we talk about members of the public dealing with mental health, we've certainly got more officers and more training, and we're better able to handle those situations. We've got a mental health crisis officer that rides with social workers, and they, if they're available, will respond to the calls for service that have a mental health component to it. And that's something that we've had for a few years now, but it's really made a big difference in how we handle those incidents and determine if the person needs to get further help from a medical professional. Now, if we talk internally about officers and their mental health, certainly this job does have its disadvantages when it comes to what we see, what we experience, and it does take a toll on us because we're human. And thankfully, the OPP has really invested a lot in caring for their members, and they've done that increasingly over the years that I've seen. And again, I've been on almost 27 years, and there's been quite an improvement in that area. So we have support systems in place at our office. We've got care navigators that we can contact at any time for supports for not just for us, but our families and extended families if they're affected as well. And there's just a lot more understanding and more acceptance and more patience and more knowledge, and it's just really nice to see that we've got those supports all the way around.
Yeah, that is very important and very nice to see. And it's important to be open and honest about it, right, too? Don't keep it inside. And your family members is too, rope them into it as well, too, so they can help you out when the officer goes home, too, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. And like I say, it doesn't just affect us, it does affect our families and our kids. And, you know, there's things that we've missed over the years and those long shifts where we're not there and we come home and retired and maybe we're a little grumpy sometimes. Again, we're just human. But yeah, sometimes they need a little bit of care, too. And those services are all available for everybody to have a talk with someone else if they need to.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that's all in place at the OPP. And again, thank you for your 27 years of service, 3 years of retirement. That's exciting.
I hope so. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Craig. All right, so Jamie, the first question is the hardest. What's your name and how do I spell it?
Sure. First name is Jamie, Jamie, and the last name is Stanley, Stanley.
And your position at the OPP?
I'm a constable, and I'm a community engagement officer with the OPP.
Yeah. I can take a different angle. This is good because he's got the infield, but you've got the community aspect to it, so that's good.
That's right.
All right. Hi, I'm here now with Jamie, a constable at the OPP as well, too, and Huron County as well.
That is correct. I work out of the Huron County Detachment, which is based out of Clinton, and my role right now is I'm a community engagement officer, and I'm specifically assigned to work in our secondary schools.
How is that different from being a field officer? I know you're dealing with a different clientele, essentially, in the schools, but it must be so important and rewarding to go into those schools and meet with the students.
It really is. So we have 5 secondary schools in Huron County, and I've been able to establish a lot of positive relationships with our students. So the students call me by my first name or a nickname. So I think we're really trying to break down those barriers that the police are like, ooh, scary, but we're there to help them. So it's been a really positive experience so far this year. Yeah.
We're talking with Craig from the OPP about mental health, but mental health is so important for our kids too, right? And having you in the schools probably, like you said, really helps that. They know if they're in a crisis situation and they see you, they can come to you, right?
Absolutely. In fact, this week, 2 days in a row, I had that exact situation play out where students were struggling. They're dealing with situations like it's challenging, right? Whether it's relationships with their parents, their dating partners that sometimes deteriorate. There's a lot of pressure for young people, and they're trying to figure their way out in this world. So to have another support person in the school and be an assistance to them, I think it's been a great benefit.
And I think that as well, the teachers and the administration must appreciate you so much to support as well.
Absolutely. So, I'm frequently being called. Quite honestly, the school administration wishes we had more officers available to their staff to support them. The teachers providing preventative programs in the school, which is a big plus as well. But also, there's investigations that our officers need to respond to. And there's times when the principals, vice principals just need to they're seeking advice. And they have a contact and a familiar face that can provide that advice to them and assistance to them.
Absolutely, Jamie. How long have you been a constable for?
Yeah, so I'm just finishing up my 25th year.
Wow, well, thank you so much for 25 years of service.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, it's been a great 25 years, and I'm looking forward to the future. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for working in the schools. I know that's so important as a father to a teenager myself. Thank you very much for that service, too, and I know it's important, and obviously the kids appreciate it with the way you're coming across here, so thank you so much for that.
Excellent. I really appreciate it. It's been very rewarding. Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
I'm here now with Brian, a retired member of our Canadian Forces and a retired paramedic. First of all, thank you for your years of service to our country and to our public. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. It was an honor.
And we're talking about mental health as a big thing. How has, you've had a long career, over your career, how has it changed from when you started in the forces to your ending of your career as a paramedic?
Well, that's a difficult question. First off, with the Canadian Armed Forces back in the 80s and 90s, mental health and mental health issues were topics of discussion that weren't had very well within the community. It was don't talk, don't discuss these sort of situations because people didn't want to deal with it. And the problem was that it created a negative atmosphere towards individuals that did suffer from mental health issues, and then later on had post-traumatic stress disorder or some sort of other mental health disorder that was associated with the trauma that they seen when they were overseas. Yeah. So the issues that compound there are affected in multiple levels being the workplace itself, your family and your close supporting people within your network, and then your community as well, because everybody ostracizes you from your community, which then there puts you in a situation where you're more and more incapable of being in the community and being supported and being a part of the community, which is very detracting and very unsupportive to the individual, which causes a negative spiral, and that's why we see a number of veterans ended up on the streets as homeless individuals. And all of their issues are always stem back from an inability to cope or an inability to manage, and it's also there because of the stereotype that's created because of a negative influence by the public. I was a member of the Canadian Airborne Regiment, and I know firsthand what it was like to be in a situation where you're painted with the same black brush. So you have a couple of individuals within the regiment that do something wrong or make a mistake or make an error, and then everybody suffers because of it. Right. And that's a prime example where that sort of situation creates a negative atmosphere, and that negative atmosphere is then confirmed within the public eye, and then the public eye then makes a decision based on inappropriate information and a lack of knowledge. So, yes, the Canadian Armed Forces struggles and still struggles with mental health issues and mental health performances, but they've done a number of things and a number of programs in order to facilitate that, and Veterans Affairs has made great strides in regards to improving the overall dynamic ability for Veterans Affairs to support retired veterans and members of the services that have been in overseas and in operations to ensure that they have the appropriate level of care. The longest thing is that, or the long portion of that is care. It's hard to get a hold of a mental health practitioner, then it's hard to find a mental health practitioner within your area. So for an ex-member of the Canadian Armed Forces living in Wingham, for instance, it's really interesting to see the dynamic shift, because you don't have that opportunity anymore since COVID to be able to go into a doctor's office and have a sit down with a psychologist or a therapist. And now a lot of those things are done on Zoom or they're done on Teams, and you're still having that conversation on a one-on-one basis, and you're still able to deal with the situations and problems that create in your lifetime because of your mental health issues. But at the same time, you still see that the community doesn't really understand or is unwilling to recognize the dynamic contributions that each member of the Canadian Armed Forces has to the community. So it's interesting because of the fact that soldiers, sailors, and airmen are in the situation where they support their communities, they do things within their communities, and they do a number of things within their communities very well, but yet they still keep their own personal issues and problems to themselves for fear, and the biggest thing is fear of the community not supporting them. So being forced into that situation is different because of the fact that we volunteer for the type of role that we play. We have a huge dynamic in regards to the overall effectiveness of our communities because of the jobs that we do. And a lot of people forget that, and they don't recognize that first responders ultimately are the ones that are there at the most dangerous time and in the most dangerous situations. And that can be just on the highway, people not slowing down or people not being careful. They see flashing lights and they think, oh, that's cool, but they don't recognize that there's a problem. And when there's a problem like that, it's important that you take the time and be considerate of others. And within our community, we've become more considerate of others. And that's changed over the last decades. to the point now where we have a number of programs that are there for first responders and veterans that are there to improve our overall effectiveness within our communities and allow us to be able to step back, grow, learn, and develop from there.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's amazing. And just you being here today and talking to us, you're helping too, right? Just to get the message out there that we're here, we can help, we want to talk about it, right?
We do. And, the other thing is that within our communities, we have a number of associations and groups that do a number of things. And one of them is the Legion. The Legion does a great deal of work in regards to taking care of our veterans, ensuring that there's funding for different veterans programs with the Poppy Fund. And the Poppy Fund is a very important thing within our communities because it helps veterans with financial assistance, it helps veterans with housing and difficulties, and it helps veterans with things within their home in order to facilitate standard of living and wellness as well. So little things like grab bars and the ability to get care and the ability to help one another. So we have different groups that are doing different things with the objective of one thing overall is to help first responders and paramedics. But I think it's really important for veterans to recognize that it's important to be a part of the community, to be supportive of the Legions, to be supportive of our first responders, and to be supportive of each other. And I think it's very important that the overall effectiveness of all of us is being a caregiver themselves. Right. Take care of yourself and take care of the people around you. But that takes time. Yep. And it's an attitude that has to be changed. Yep.
Absolutely, and find community, right? We should make the community for them to be there, for sure.
Absolutely, and I think that the Legion is trying to do that, and the objective roles of the Legion are there to facilitate that. And I think that the Legion has done a number of key things to facilitate that, and one of them being the Poppy Fund and financial supports and educational supports, and having the ability to have somebody that's qualified and competent to deal with Veterans Affairs and help move claims forward in an effective manner. I think the number one complaint of all veterans is that Veterans Affairs is not there for us. They're there for the government, but that's sometimes the case, yes, but they have a political agenda. What we have to do is we have to find a way to work with them in order to recognize the issues and deal with them effectively. And it comes down to our members of Parliament to be supportive of our veterans within our communities and recognize if there is a problem, that there is a time for our members of Parliament to be able to step in, as well as our MPPs. Yep. So this is a multifocal situation where you have grassroots community initiatives like the Legion, like Invisible Wounds, and then you have other groups like Wounded Warriors and Boots on the Ground that do a number of effective things to help support first responders, but they also help support our communities ultimately. So it's very important that Canadians, and especially community members within our area here in Wingham, recognize that there are a lot of things out there to help each other, but at the same time, not to be fearful that when you ask for help that you're going to get put aside. And it's very important that when you need that support, that it's there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to your service to our country and to our community, Brian. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
I'm here now with Mark Leslie as well from Leslie Motors. And Mark, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And why did Leslie Motors and why did you specifically want to start sponsoring Invisible Wounds?
Well, we have a number of volunteer firemen as part of our staff, and PTSD is, I know it can happen, and they come back to work and it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong, and then all of a sudden, I just think it's so important that mental health, and having a bit of mental health myself, it kind of hits home, so that's why.
For sure. Well, thank you again for your support over those 10 years, Mark. And I know it means a lot to Deborah, and I know it means a lot to you guys and your crew here at Leslie Motors.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you so much to Leslie Motors Wingham for hosting us here, to the Leslie family as well, Mark, Zach, and all the team here at Leslie Motors, and for their 10 years of sponsoring Invisible Wounds. We appreciate it so much, more than you could know. And thank you to all the first responders who are here on the show with us today, talking about mental health and their service as well, too. And thank you for their service as we celebrate National First Responders Day. I want to let you know that there is a conference coming up for Invisible Wounds. It'll be in Niagara on October 6th to the 8th of 2025. 5, and you can visit Invisible Wounds website for more information. You'll see Deborah on the next episode, and for Deborah and all the crew here at Invisible Wounds, I'm Adam Olivero. Thank you so much for watching. Invisible Wounds will host events promoting mental wellness to first responders, their families, and civilians. To find out more, please visit our website at invisible-wounds.ca.